I'm back. So in honor of the Grammys being, when was it? Sunday? I don't know. The Grammys were recently. I have felt inspired to talk about my personal favorite albums of the year. The Grammys also totally, completely ate down this year, especially to everyone who went up there accepting the award and talking about ICE and the politics going on today. Like, yes! Like, that's what we need. But anyway, I listen to a lot of music over the year, like a lot, but I'm gonna talk about albums that were released in 2025 and which ones I listened to and which ones I liked. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna start off with a bang. I feel like I kind of have to say my favorite of the year, but it is, I'm also pulling out my vinyls for this, so I'm getting pretty serious. 5 Seconds of Summer's newest album, Everyone's a Star. Bitch. This is like one of my favorite vinyls ever that I have, so I feel like I kind of have to show it off. This, in my personal opinion, is possibly their best album yet. It has a very clear vision, a very clear intention within both the branding, marketing, aesthetic of it all, but then also with the songs themselves and how the themes correlate with each other. It feels very experimental for them while still keeping the iconic 5 Seconds of Summer vibe and energy. But with this album, they kind of take inspiration from the 80s, early 2000s, while still keeping it modern. Like, their first single, Not Okay, is actually heavily inspired by, like, the electronic anthems of, like, Gorillaz and The Prodigy, which I just learned about from my dad. But it's just, like, cool. This may sound kind of corny, but the album is very much main character energy. I know how that sounds, but, like, just with the album title, Everyone's a Star, it's, like, it incorporates their journey as both a band and as individuals. And it also kind of plays into the stereotype of boy band and the fame side of that, the parties, the attention, the fans. It very much has that atmosphere of you are in a famous band, famous boy band. It's cool, it's edgy, there's like electronic, but also big drums happening, like big guitar riffs, and like they know how to play off of one another. Essentially, it's pop punky, electronic, rock. It intertwines genres, but it's like an homage to older stuff while still keeping it modern, and I'm very here for it. Okay, so my next one is Everybody Scream by Florence and the Machine. This album is like finding power within everything. That's not necessarily the theme within every single song, but just like as an album as a whole, especially instrumentally and sonically, that's what it feels like to me. I mean, and with her vocals, of course. Like, her vocals are fucking insane. I saw in her Zane Lowe interview that she said that the album was made as somewhat of a coping mechanism, and when I heard that, I was like, connecting that to certain lyrics and certain stories within the songs, and I was like, girl, that makes sense. It very much feels like emotion was just collected and never out, but now using music and using your voice and all these instruments, it feels like all of that just like bursted out in a chaotically beautiful kind of way. It's like the kind of chaos nature has, if that makes sense. Like, even though it's all-encompassing and like kind of insane, there's still beauty and grace within it. I don't know if what I'm saying really makes sense, but like makes sense to me, and that's all that matters. It touches on multiple things, what it's like to be a woman in the industry and her experience with that, but she also came out with a chamber version of some of the songs. You feel it in a different kind of way. Like, when you listen to the original versions, the intensely like whimsical kind of sonic atmosphere brings out your emotions in an intense kind of way, like you feel it a lot. But with the chamber stripped back versions, it kind of makes you sit with those emotions more so than push them out, if that makes any sense. Anyway, but in the album they're like layering vocals with like kind of screeching in the background with everybody scream, and you feel somewhat community within some songs with hearing all of these backing vocals. You definitely feel a sense of empowerment. Like the instruments are also voices themselves. It's very much an experience. Next one, Willoughby Tucker, I Will Always Love You by Ethel Cain. I have seen a good amount of people say they like Preacher's Daughter better, but in my opinion, I don't necessarily think they can be compared just because they are telling two different stories. It is essentially a prequel to Preacher's Daughter, talking about Ethel Cain's growing up. Like, it starts with her grappling the feelings of losing a friend to their new significant other. Like, her childhood friend got a boyfriend, and she's trying to come to terms with the fact that her friend is basically leaving her. And then it goes into her relationship with Willoughby Tucker and kind of his own personal problems and how they affect her in their relationship and how he left, why he left. Whereas Preacher's Daughter was very much like an entire, basically short film within an album, whereas this is just talking about one part of Ethel Cain's life. Anyway, I think it's a perfect example of musical storytelling because there are multiple instrumental tracks, and the fact that you can feel so much and visualize what you think is going on and what the instruments mean to you and mean to the overall story. The fact that she can make you do that while just listening to instruments, and that is, again, having an experience while just listening to an album. And the fact that she can keep you hooked for a 15-minute song, that's Waco, Texas, by the way, is actually insane. That's how much you get connected to the story and the characters, because it is a very much, not just thought-provoking story, but a feeling-provoking. I don't know if that's a word, but we're gonna use it. She doesn't have many big, powerful vocal moments. I think that was honestly kind of a smart choice because it is talking about Ethel's teenage years before Preacher's Daughter. I think it makes sense that a lot of her vocals are softer and held back a little because I think that's how Ethel feels, like held back. You know, there's acoustic guitars, there's electric guitars with kind of a floaty effect to them. Not as many big drum moments also, but again, I feel like it's very fitting for each song. But the album itself is just a stunning portrayal of storytelling through music. Like, this could easily be an entire short film, and that is just something I think, honestly, everyone should experience. Alrighty, next one. I don't know why I did that. People Watching by Sam Fender. I need to stop sticking my tongue out. I found out who Sam Fender was through the band Inhaler, funnily enough. I think his music, it touches on either specific or broad subjects of growing up and also growing into adulthood and the struggles with both of those and how they intertwine. His voice has kind of like a sense of confident vulnerability. Like, you know what he's singing is what he means. Like, those are his words and his story, which both brings out a sense of empathy within the listener, but then also it kind of allows a space to reflect on their own emotions and their own points in their lives that have maybe been shoved down deep and they haven't wanted to acknowledge. And I think possibly one of the best examples yet from him is this album. There's emotional vulnerability, awareness, accountability, rare, and also an acknowledgement of his own flaws within certain parts of his life. Then it's not only just his life. He incorporates what incorporates that within other people's lives that he has affected and that have affected him, which I personally kind of love to see in music because I feel like it's not a common thing to write and sing about in a way that's not just like a romance or like a breakup. I mean, Noah Kahan also does a great job of this. There's like a big feeling of just humanity when listening to his music. I think a big light needs to be shed on that kind of music, especially right now. It gives you the feeling of literally everyone is a human being. And again, both this album and Sam Fender, as an artist in general, doesn't shy away from like the shitty parts of life. But this is actually a perfect segue into my last album, which I don't have a vinyl of yet, which I'm really upset about, but I will get one. One of the songs on here, Rain Me In, he did a collab with, guess who? Miss Olivia Dean. Okay, my last album is The Art of Loving by Olivia Dean. I am so happy she just won Best New Artist at the Grammys because I think she is like exactly what pop music needs today. It's fresh, it has a clean kind of production. It's simple, but it still makes you kind of feel warm and fuzzy and optimistic in a way. Just, I've seen multiple people say this, but it is genuinely such a good phrase to describe both who she seems as a person and just her artistry in general. It's just, she's a breath of fresh air. Like in this album, there were just like some simple piano notes, simple guitar notes, but her voice, like, is beautiful, first of all. And kind of with Sam Fender, there's a confidence in her authenticity. Like, again, what she's singing, you know she means. But she also seems very connectable. Like, she feels like someone you can relate to and someone who just wants the best in her own life and in everyone else's life. And then also when it comes to pop songs that are about feeling yourself and being self-assured, they all kind of do it in the same way, like big instrumentals, big vocals, kind of a sexiness to their voice that they incorporate. That's not shade, by the way, like I love those songs. I think a good example would be, I think Tate McRae, big Tate McRae fan, so it's not tier shade, but I just think they kind of do it the same way, whereas Olivia Dean, she has a song on this album called So Easy to Fall in Love, and in the song she talks about how she's both a Saturday night and the rest of your life. I love hearing and feeling that kind of confidence within both a woman and a song. Her voice and instrumentals are, again, kind of stripped back a little, but they're warm and wavy almost. It's also the perfect album for just navigating your 20s, both romantically and your relationship with love, again, within someone else and other people and also within yourself. And it's done in a way that is more sensual rather than sexual. Neither are better than the other, but I think we've gotten a lot of the sexual lately, and I think we need to even it out a bit because sensuality is kind of a lost art almost, and to hear it within an entire album, especially called The Art of Loving, is a perfect match. And again, the way she spoke up, like her acceptance speech for Best New Artist was, I think, very much telling of who she is as a person and how we see that and hear that within her music and songwriting is something I'm so excited to see in pop music specifically. I think this is an album where it's just such an easy listen. One of the closest albums I've heard to a perfect pop album. So those are my top 5 favorite albums that were released in 2025. Again, I have many albums that I listened to this year, but I just cut them down to the ones released in 2025. And yeah, that's low-key it. Oh, if you're interested at all in kind of like music reviews or just playlists in general, I'll put my Spotify in my description. And I also write for a very small independent online music magazine. Again, if you like finding new music or just reading reviews, so then I would definitely recommend checking out both that magazine in general and my writing specifically because I'm really good. That's it. I'm running out of storage, so love all my fans and supporters. Thank you for watching. They're really cute. Anyway, okay, bye.